Hello. My YouTube is giving me errors. Per usual, I'm getting hit with errors. It's saying doesn't like my resolution. It's very mad. Let's just say that. YouTube is very mad that I tried to stream this in 4K and I must have hit the wrong setting. So it's saying, hey, don't do 4K. And then, but I can't go back. You can't not do 4K. YouTube giving errors, unheard of. I know. Because apparently 1080p streaming on YouTube is bad. So I said, okay, I'll try 4K. So I switch it to 4K. And then it says, this is not supported. This is not supported for this configuration. So I think it's some backend stuff. I will get it resolved next time. But it's telling my stream status is poor. Does this look okay? Are there any actual errors? Yeah, try 1440p. I would love to, but I've already started the stream and I don't think you can stop it. That's why when it says you need to change the video resolution, I cannot. I think I have to turn off the video to do that. So let me try that. We're gonna go dark for 2 seconds. How does this? I think if I just literally turn off all of these. Let's see. I think if there's no video on screen, it'll let me do it. Nope. That did nothing. That did not work. It's because I don't have the foot cam yet. Maybe. I can't say for sure. I mean, I'm okay to just ignore the error. I don't mind that. But as long as this looks okay, like, does it look normal? Because if it is, I'm just going to leave it. I don't care. I'll fix it next time. But let me see. Is this right? No. Hurts. Let me turn on all my stuff again. Pop-up chat. I like that. What is up, guys? What is up? We got Dylan, Nathan. What's up, Nathan? Reluctant Hero. What's up, guys? How are y'all doing? Hey, y'all are old enough to know what my shirt is. It's the save button on a Word doc, right? Like you click this and it saves your progress. That's all it is. Let me check the volume. The music too loud? I think I have my audio a little bit too crispy. Let me check the music too loud? Music's not loud. Audio a little bit too crispy. Heck Blacksmith, what's up, man? I can hear myself. Great. Blacksmith, what's up, man? No, I guess it's okay. I'm just gonna whatever. It's fine. 3.5-inch floppy. I too was born in the 1900s. I want to download my floppy. You know you can download RAM? Makes your computer go fast. Turn it down to here. When I'm streaming, y'all probably do this when you're driving and you need to concentrate for a moment. You turn down the music, right? Even though it's like not gonna make you see better, but it's just like distracting. That's how I feel. Because the music's much louder in my ear than it is for y'all, and so I'm like, okay, I got to turn this down if I can't focus. Such a noise gate, man. It just stops. So many of these songs start so quiet. You wouldn't download a car, Jason. The joke's on you, dude. I would download a car. I would 3D print a car. I would download a car. I'd steal a car. I mean, that's fine. Every time I see that, I'm like, that is the worst one. Like, everyone would download a car, actually. Like, that's such a stupid thing. All good here, bro. A tad warm here still. Nice. It is starting to get warm again here. I'm also in a warm part, but it's obviously winter still. So I think like the last 2 days it was pretty cold, and then like 2 weeks before that it was pretty warm. So I think we're heading towards spring here. Drive it like it's hot. What is up, guys? It's been a while. If you all did not know, I released a video today. It's a little bit of a different video about my server, and it's kind of retelling what happened rather than doing it on camera, because it just took so long. There was no way I could do that, like record it as it happened. So I wanted to try a different style. It's kind of like just talking about what happened and using some old footage. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I think it's okay. It's pretty good. This. And the music is so loud. It goes from so quiet to so loud so quickly. Surely there's a way around it. But y'all know it's not a Jason Whitmer stream unless we spend the first 5 minutes messing around with settings and complaining that we don't know what we're doing. That's a typical. Camera looks pretty good, actually. On my end, it looks pretty good. I don't know what they're complaining about. Even looking, it's a little fuzzy on live, but it's not bad. The lighting's really good. I'm only using one light. Here, I'm gonna show you. I have one light on me. It's kind of pointed at the wall. It's very low, okay? And here's if I open a white browser in my second monitor. Let's see. Flashbang. So like whenever I see people on Twitch or something and they're streaming in a super dark room, I'm like, dude, you don't need to buy a light at all. Just turn on your second monitor to google.com. Like here's my dark mode. Okay, it's gonna adjust. It's a lot of it's on camera too. Your camera has settings to like make up for it, right? And if you'll see it change. So let's go back to that. Flashbang. And now the camera's gonna slowly bring it down. Okay, but that's the best it's gonna do. And then if you go back to a dark room, it's going to bring it back up. See that? So like, there's no reason why people have to sit in a super dark room. It's free white balancing, pretty much. That's basically what it's doing. It's like changing the ISO and it's white balancing for you. Cameras are really good now. Webcams. Like, if you have it on manual, it's not going to do it. And so I just wonder, like, when I see people streaming in like a super dark room, I'm like, you don't need to do that, guys. I have one tiny light pointing at the wall. It is tiny. And I think if I turned it off, it'd be fine. I watched the there and left a comment. I saw that, Nathan. I'm happy that you were able to resolve the issues you had. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is up and running. It's going good. And it's fun. It's fun to try out a new system. Because previously I used Unraid and then I switched over to TrueNAS, and that was fine. That was fun. But HexOS is pretty nice. It's just simple and I don't have to worry too much about it. And using Proxmox is very fun and interesting. Learned a lot from it so far, and I look forward to keep digging into it. I don't mess with it too much. I'm not like those, home lab YouTubers who are constantly messing around with it. I'm just here and there. I mostly just want it to work, but it's fun. It's still fun to mess around with new software as a techie person, So I've been learning Proxmox, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been seeing some people using their high-end phones as webcams, and it looks good. Yeah, totally. You don't even have to have a high-end phone. A mid-range phone would look really good. The sensors are nice on there. Yeah. Totally. There's no excuse anymore, man. Like the cameras are so user-friendly these days. Like really, they're so affordable. Crazy. Even like a $20 webcam can look pretty good. I'll say the cheaper webcams, if they're under like $50, you do need a light, because I have tried them in the dark. They're not great. This is obviously not a $20 webcam, but still, just a lamp on your face. That's all it takes. Like, and all this pink in my background, y'all see that? This is from that single light strip. You can kind of see the light strip. I have a light strip around the desk to use for B-roll. That's all it is. It's just a single light strip, and it spills out light really far, and you can see the whole room is now flooded with it. It's not that pink in person as it is on camera, but I'm kind of glad. It makes it really easy to light it. It's basically nothing. It's not too bright. It could also be the camera. The camera picks up a lot of different stuff. Camera technology is very interesting. It's a strong strip. I know, right? I'm very surprised. I mean, RGB strips, they also have different powers. I don't even think this is the brightest brightness. Let me try. Sorry if I trigger your Google. Okay, Google. RGB light strip to 100% brightness. Let's see if it goes up. Okay, I think it's at 100%. That's probably why. Okay, Google. Turn the RGB light strip to 50% brightness. It's asking me it's saying I can't find a device name. Okay, Google. Turn the brightness to 50% on the RGB light strip. I'm gonna do weird because it did this part. Whatever, I don't care. Still pretty good. What's up, gamers? What's up, Tech? Grant? What's going on, man? Seriously, I'm impressed by my monitor purchase. It has upped my experience like I wouldn't have believed, and to get it for $220 is a steal. Yeah, man, for sure. For those who don't know, Dylan recently went from a 1080p monitor to a 1440p monitor, and I think higher refresh rate as well. Yeah, it is a significant difference, man. It is crazy. Being able to have like high, going from a 60 hertz monitor to like a 144 hertz monitor is a huge jump just right there. But even going from like 140 or from 1080p to 1440p is humongous. Yeah, 300 megahertz, 300 hertz, not megahertz. Yeah, a 300 hertz monitor, that's huge. Yeah, especially for like esports stuff, man. That's crazy. 1440p monitors are so affordable now. I'm blown away, truly. I remember in 2019, Dell was selling. There weren't many monitors with G-Sync yet at that time, and Dell had a monitor at the time that was a 1440p 27-inch G-Sync 144 hertz IPS monitor. I believe that's all it was. Yeah, those four. Okay, and at the time that was whatever price, but the giga sale of that was $350, and that was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Dell's selling this for $350. That's crazy. What a crazy sell, right? And now you can get monitors like that for like $100. Like it's crazy. They might not have G-Sync, I will say that, but I mean things are just so crazy now, and they go far above 144 hertz. So like, yeah, it's just crazy. Now, basically, if you're okay with an IPS display and you don't want to go OLED or mini LED or anything like that, they're so affordable. 27 inch is so affordable. 1440p is so affordable. Like you can just steal it. It's great. I pick 1440p 320 hertz IPS panel for 184. Yeah, totally. It's nuts how much affordable it's gotten. I also think about TVs. Like, as we all know, TVs are just dropping in price, obviously. Also in 2018, we bought a very cheap TCL TV, 65-inch. I think it was like $500 or $600 at the time, and I thought that was cheap. And now that same TV, like the upgraded version of it, it goes on sale for like $300. And if you're okay with like worse quality, like you can go down to Hisense or some other brands, it's like $200. I'm like, dude, a 65-inch television, 4K 60 hertz for $200? That is nuts. Nuts. Have I tried OpenClaw? I tried to try it, but it was giving me too many errors during installation, so I stopped. So no, not yet. But I'm not really interested in it past testing it because it's a meme. So just mess around with it, and that's about it. So I'm not too worried about it. I saw a very funny tweet today that I retweeted that was basically like, it was like person A and person B. It's like, oh, have you tried OpenClaw? Building so many things. Oh man, the apps I'm built, I've got it running 24/7. Person B, oh, so yeah, cool. What are you building? Oh, I've got it running my stuff, and my everything's going crazy all day, 24/7. I'm paying $200 in token cost. Cool. What are you building? So many things, dude. I'm building everything. It's so amazing. I cannot stop it. What are you building? you can't stop this train. The so many agents, dude. Like so many tokens. Like they love to talk about it, but never like you ask them to produce results. And whenever they do post results, it's like vibe coded slop you can make in 5 minutes, and it's like, well, what have you been using all those tokens for? What have you been doing this whole time? Sounds like you like talking about it more than you actually like doing something. It's still $240. It's 27-inch 1440p LG Ultra Gear. It has G-Sync and FreeSync, tilt, swivel, and pivot HDR 400. Nice. Yeah, a total steal. That's a great one. I mean, 300 hertz is significant. That wasn't possible like 5 years ago. I think in 2020, like seriously, like it was pretty rare to see things that were like over 144. And every year since like 2019, it just keeps going up and up and up and up. Like 144 was generally the max for a while for refresh rates, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what we did, but we just started cranking it up. Now I think you can get up to like 500 and something if you're at 1080p for some monitors, which is right. You can't game at 300 hertz, right? Like they just have these Omega computers running at 500 hertz, but man, try running for 500 FPS. It's difficult. But it's still cool that it exists, and I think we'll get there. And so I think CPUs like the 9800X3D or the new one, what is it, 9850? It they always test it at like 1080p low and like 720p low, right? And it's like no one's playing at this. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's the only way you can test it. But I think some people are playing at that. Like they buy these super big, super expensive CPUs so that they can play things like Valorant and Counter-Strike at those 400 FPS markers. These people are crazy, but they exist. My Ultra has 165 hertz, and I'm like, why do people need more? And Dylan puts it right on the head, dude, because I can. That's essentially it, right? I'm kind of in the same boat. I think for me, my monitor does have more, but it's only because it is nowadays, like truly in this today, if you buy a new monitor today, it is actually cheaper to pair the other settings that you want with the high refresh rate. Does that make sense? Like if you're like, I'm okay with 100 hertz, it's like, well, it's actually easier to find a 2 or a 144 hertz monitor than it is 100, right? Kind of that situation. But for me, I think between 120 and 144, I'm good. Like I'm totally good. It's obviously nice to have more because you never know. There could be a time where you're playing some kind of esports game and it does turn out to have a really high frame rate, would be super nice. But generally speaking, most of the games I play, it's 1440p, somewhere in the 100 to 144 FPS situation. So I'm cool with that. But you never know. Those people game on a 1080p monitor for a bigger hitbox. Yeah, some people are pretty crazy. I'm fine with 240. Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. For me, even if I do play some competitive games. We've been playing Overwatch recently and Arc Raiders. So there could be a time where I am the type of person where it's like, hey, if you bring the settings down, you can have a better experience or higher frames and use up all those frames on your hertz on your monitor. But frankly, I just don't care. Like technically, yes, it would be technically better to go to 1080p and have a higher refresh rate, but I just can't be asked, dude. The game looks pretty good at my resolution and my frame rate, and I'm okay with that. Like if I'm shaving off a millisecond of time by switching all the settings, I couldn't care, dude. If it was my job, so if I was a professional Counter-Strike player or something, yes, I totally. Don't even ask. I would do it. But if I'm just playing for fun, who cares, man? But that's just me. Yeah, I'm not a competitive gamer. I just want my games to look the best they can with moderate performance. Same here. Yeah, for sure. Are you playing any live service games right now? I guess Overwatch is technically a live service game. They released some new characters recently, so we've been playing it a little bit. But that's about it. I don't really play live service that often. The only multiplayer games I've been playing right now is Arc Raiders and in Overwatch. Yeah. Helldivers 2. Yeah, no, that is a live service game. That's true. I did play a few hours of Astrobot. I'm borrowing a friend's PS5 and playing Astrobot on it. It's really fun. It's really good. Yeah, truly. If you're into 3D platformers and you have a PS5, it will never be ported to PC. It is incredibly PlayStation coded. Like it is like the game is you're flying around in a ship that is a PlayStation 5, right? And you're like finding specific modules to PlayStation. Like it's so Sony coded that I can't imagine it would ever be on another platform. So don't hold your breath to get an Astrobot port, but it is fun. It's like a really well polished game, and it's just so dense. Every level is so dense. So if you're into like collectathons or 3D platformers, it's fantastic. Yeah, Astrobot is good. Yeah, I agree. I think it's great. I'm literally borrowing his PS5 just so I can play that game. That's like the only reason, and it runs well. It's just the base model PS5, and it goes 4K 60, no problem. It's not even on variable. It's just set. Apex and FT right now. What is FT? It's not Fortnite. Unless? Wouldn't Fortnite be FN? You know, I saw Fortnite had the Simpsons collab, and I am sad that I missed it. I didn't realize how fleeting Fortnite stuff is. I don't play Fortnite, but I like Simpsons, so I thought, oh, you know, I'll come into it in a month or so, and nope, in a month it's gone. So they build out an entire map dedicated to the Simpsons and all these characters, and do a whole event with all these special animations and like all of that for only 3 or 4 weeks of content. It's crazy. And then they do it again for South Park. It's crazy how fast they churn out content in that game. Like it is every month. It's something. It's not just like they add some new characters in. It's like they completely redo the map. It's amazing, but it's also kind of sucks because it's just gone. It's just gone so quick. Simpsons sucked. I would have loved to play it. I don't care. I don't care about Fortnite. I just wanted to walk around in Springfield. Care less. Simpsons Fortnite was all right. I think people who play Fortnite often probably have different opinions than I would in a situation. I just wanted to walk around Simpsons, the Springfield. But I think it'd be cool. It kind of sucks because they give you big FOMO for things. It's like, if you don't play this right here, right now, you literally never will be able to ever again. And that sucks. I can't go back to it. I can't. What am I supposed to do? And I wonder if there's a chance that we can get those files and like host a private server and just have the map in a 3D world. Would that be so bad, Epic Games, to allow people to like make custom games in old maps? I don't know, it just sucks that you've built out this whole thing and it's only available for 30 days and then it's gone to forever to the ether. It can never come back. It will never ever see the light of day again. I don't like that. Like, I understand if they're not supporting it and if they're not updating it or any of that stuff. I get that. That's fine. And if it's not part of the rotation, I think that's okay too. But you should at least be able to go back, make a custom game with your friends, and walk around in the world at the very least, or play with your friends or whatever. Like, would that be so bad to have access to all these old maps they've done? Very frustrating. I just hate that I missed it. I never get it. And you only had a fleeting moment in time, a snap, and it was gone. And you can't ever go back. If they allowed you to do it, no one would play the new stuff. Well, I don't think you should be able to queue into matchmaking. I get that. I get that they don't want people doing that. But at least a custom game with a couple friends to walk around in, that's it. Or just a custom game in general. Like, if a streamer wants to play with like 99 of his viewers, like, let him do a custom map on the Simpsons map. Why not? That's not going to replace matchmaking. Not even close, right? Like, I agree. Content should never completely sunset. Yeah, but I understand where they're coming from. I'm not unreasonable. I'm not saying they need to sit here and keep it updated and balance all these different maps. I get it. But just keep it around, deep in the settings, so it just doesn't disappear. You spent months on that, man, just for it to be around for 30 days and it's just gone. That sucks. Like, they make way too much money. I don't know. I just think there should be a way to experience games and don't let them just disappear like that. It's so frustrating. One of my biggest issues with live service games, that it's like you had to be there or not. And I also had that situation with Pokemon Go. That's a different situation. So the summer that Pokemon Go dropped, which was what, 2016, I was in China at the time. So I was living in China, and Pokemon Go was banned there. So it was no way to access. It was basically one of 2 countries in the world that had it banned. And I'm sure anyone here understands that that was a cultural phenomenon, especially if you were of a certain age, and people just all being happy and playing it together for that whole summer and having a good time. And it was like everywhere you go, people were playing it, and it was like out in the world, making friends and doing stuff. That's an experience and a phenomenon that happened that one summer that I will never get to experience because I was in a country where it was banned. And that sucks. That's a different situation. It's not their fault, but it was a situation where it was like you either were there or you weren't, and I wasn't. And time will move on and people will speak of that summer for years to come, and I wasn't there. I didn't get to experience it. So that sucked. We did a new phenomenon. Speaking of disappearing, has anyone tried to play Halo lately? I have not. Me and my friend have an ongoing Halo campaign we're playing. Every few months we come back and play a few levels of Halo 1. We beat Halo 1 finally after like a year, and then we played Halo 2, but we're playing on the hardest difficulty, so we get frustrated very quickly. No, I haven't. I know Halo Infinite's been kind of weird lately. Yeah, I don't know. And Xbox just had their top dudes get thrown out, which is either unfortunate or great, because the Xbox name has never been weaker. So, I could say I'm sad for them. I'm sad people are losing their jobs, obviously, but yeah, Xbox is in a worse spot now than it was 10 years ago, and even worse 10 years before that. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I know nothing. But in my mind, they've lost a lot of high ground. And no one talks about Xbox. When people talk about consoles, they mean PlayStation 5. Isn't that sad? We don't say, yeah, play it on console. Like, no. The only console is, other than Switch, is PlayStation 5. My best friend still plays Pokemon Go. Here in Sydney, they still have events too. He has an event here on Saturday he is playing too. Yeah, for sure. It's still ongoing. People do still play, but I think that first summer was just a phenomenon where everyone was playing, depending on who you were or your age group or stuff. Like, such everywhere you go, you drive cars to like the nearest Pokestop, and there's a bunch of people there just talking to each other, having a good time, playing the game, and corroborating. I think that would have been really cool. But I know there are still people who play it for sure. I tried Halo Infinite a couple weeks ago, and it's a straight sweat fest. Yeah, the only people left are probably the best players. My son and I completed his Eagle Scout project. We refurbished older PCs for underprivileged kids going into college, cleaned out the cases with airgun and new thermal paste, and reset the operating system. We did 25 PCs. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Very cool, but congrats to your son. That's very cool, yeah. Xbox is sad. Xbox 360 was so good. I agree. I loved the original Xbox. Loved it. Played a lot of it. Loved the Xbox 360. Great console. Xbox One, okay. It was fine. I'm not going to say it was bad, but it was just kind of like whatever. And then we've got Xbox Series S and X, and they're just so irrelevant. They are nothing. No one talks about Xbox anymore. They mostly talk about Game Pass. So, but Game Pass is not Xbox. it is a subscription service. So it's just not the same thing. And the sad part is that Sony also has a subscription service. PlayStation Plus has the same stuff that Game Pass does, but for PlayStation games, where you get cloud gaming, you get free downloads, you get a whole list of games you can play, has like all this. Basically, it's Game Pass. And yet people still talk about PlayStation. So saying Xbox has Game Pass is not good enough. Like, and I know they bought a bunch of studios that they have that, at least, I guess. Sony also has a bunch of studios. I'm just thinking, like, what does Xbox have that Sony doesn't? And they have Microsoft in the back end, right? With all that money, it's not even close. But we'll see. I don't know. I think Xbox needs to figure it out, man, because I don't know anyone with an Xbox. I know a few people with PS5s, but truly, in every generation before, I knew people who like these people were Xbox people, these people were PlayStation people, Sega, etc. This generation, I don't know anyone with an Xbox, really. I take that back. I do know one person, but it's like he never plays it. It just sits in the back of his closet. So PlayStation Plus isn't Game Pass. First-party games released day one on Xbox. That is true. I guess I forget about the first-party games, but I still don't think it's worth it. Because PlayStation Plus doesn't do day one stuff. They have a huge back catalog of games, but they don't do day one stuff because they want you to still buy it. So that is true. But unless you're playing every single one that comes out, that's a tough sell because it's expensive. It's like $30 a month. Because you can only get access to those day one games if you pay the most expensive one. Because I tried to do it for Expedition 33, and if you pay for like the normal Game Pass, you don't get it. For like the first year or whatever, you got to pay more. I am primarily an Xbox player. Nice. I'm in the ecosystem. It didn't make sense to fully cross over. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of cool stuff about Xbox is that there is a lot of migration into PC. So like owning a PC and Xbox or Xbox Game Pass makes a lot of sense because you get to do, Game Pass gives you Game Pass for Windows and et cetera, et cetera. I'm able to use Game Pass Ultimate on 2 consoles. That's helpful. That's nice. Helps bring the value up. Especially if you have kids who are also using it, I think that could help a lot. I have an original Xbox, an Xbox 360, and a One S and Series X here. I only use the One X currently. Nice. And Nathan is an OG Xboxer. I loved the OG Xbox and the 360, man. I loved the heck out of them. And I remember thinking when the PlayStation 3 came out, and again, y'all are old, so you remember. PlayStation 3 came out, it was expensive. Well, how much was it? Like $700? $800? And this was in 2006. It was an insane number. When consoles at that time were selling for like $300 and the PS3 was like $600. Like, it was just insane. And it was so expensive, I remember nobody bought it. $500? Okay, I remember it being very expensive. And basically the only person I knew for the first year who had it were rich dads who bought it for the Blu-ray player. And that was it. So like, because at the time, Blu-ray players were like $800. And so you could buy a PS3 for whatever price. And while it was an expensive game console, it was the cheapest Blu-ray player. So like everyone I knew who owned one was just because their dads were rich and wanted to buy a Blu-ray player, which is pretty funny. And then they eventually released the price, or they lowered the price, and it went on to be the winner that generation for some reason, which I never understood because I think the 360 was better than it. And I was always confused because people always said when it first came out that the PS3 had better graphics, right? And I'm like, but if that was true, why did the PS3 not come with an HDMI cable? Okay. The PS3, being the best graphics, high definition experience, came with the yellow, red, and white AV cables, which are not high definition. They're standard definition. Because you'd think if you were bragging about having the highest graphics, you'd put a high definition cable in the box. Now, Xbox 360 didn't have HDMI cable in the box, but it did have the I forget what they were called. They were the AV cables that were HD. It was like 5 of them. They were different colors, but they were high definition. So the Xbox 360 out of the box was able to do high definition, and the PS3 wasn't. And so, I don't know. Resolution, textures, I'm neither here nor there, but I will die on that hill. GameStop sometimes sells old consoles for as low as $35 during the Christmas holidays. I do remember that. I think one year they had so many 360s. There were so many that they were selling them for like 35. And then I remember the Christmas after that, they were giving them out for free. It was like, come and buy it and then do a rebate to get the money back. And like, I think it's because GameStop had so many 360s that they had to get rid of them. And they hoped maybe if we just give them away and hope people forget to do the rebate. What a play. I remember that the year after the $35 ones, that's what they did. And I thought that was just so crazy. I would love to mod the Go Xbox, but it is a bit too technical even for me. Yeah, modding consoles a little bit harder, for sure. A little bit more difficult. The new phones look like they are going to be really expensive. Same deal with VCR. Oh, same deal with VCR and DVD player. Yeah, for sure. Ken Kutaragi said people want to get a second job to afford a PS3. Maybe, at the time. The Xbox 360 launched with composite. The revision had HDMI. Yeah, I know the second one had it later on. Composite. Xbox 360 was number 1 in the US, but PS3 overtook the worldwide in the last year or so. Yeah, which was so strange. Never understood that. Japanese people. I know they hated Xbox so much. But I personally, like, for me, I don't know. PlayStation, to me, has always been like, I play games by myself. Console. Like, I don't have friends. And it's because you look at, like, I mean, I'm joking, but you look at, like, the PS1 and the N64. N64 had 4 controller ports on it. The PlayStation 1 had 2. And, of course, you have the multi-tap adapter, so you can get 4. But you have to buy something extra just to play with 4 players. And you look at how many games supported. There weren't many games on PS1 that could support 4 controllers, but the N64 had so many. So it was like, this is the console you buy if you want to play with your friends in your living room. And the PS1 is the console if you want to play weird Japanese RPGs by yourself in your room. Both great experiences, but that's just what it was. Then the PS2 comes out versus the Xbox and the GameCube, same situation. GameCube and Xbox, 4 controller ports, PS2 only 2. And the same deal, multi-tap, not that many games. Have to pay something extra. What are we doing? Like, and then that was when we started going online. And so the Xbox had a better online experience, far better than PS2 and obviously GameCube. So even there, it's like, okay, Xbox is the one. If you have friends, here's where you're going to play. And the PS2 was to play weird RPG games or Crash Bandicoot or whatever. And GameCube, you could play with your friends. Moving on to Xbox 360. Great online service. The PS3 online service got better, I will say. That's when they started to get pretty good. And but still, I don't know. I had both, but PS3 was always the one where it's like, it's just gonna play single player games. I don't know. Why is my music thing so low? Sometimes it gets so quiet you can't even hear it. Got to figure out a way to fix it. That seems absurd. It'll be so quiet and so loud. Look at this. I mean, nowadays you don't even get you don't get consoles with 4 or not controller ports. You can have as many as you want, really. You don't have games. There aren't that many games that are like 4-player plugged into one TV these days. It's pretty difficult. Not as many. There are, and it's mostly indie games. A lot of indie games do support it, but it's, yeah, not that many. And less people are playing together. They're just playing online. But I really do, I still think consoles are designed to be played in the living room with friends and family, sitting together. But, man, that's just me. And I'm not counting the Switch. The Switch is like a different thing. Somehow Nintendo has gone into their own little console corner, and they're not even competing with the other guys. They're their own thing, and I love that for them. Although I do really like the Dreamcast, and I think that was an underrated console, and it's still that also had 4 controller ports. Like that's the way to go. If you want people to play, why didn't PlayStation put 4? Like how expensive could it have been? I don't know. I just think it's silly. And I think in my mind, the Sony consoles had for 1, 2, and 3 had way more single player games than Xbox or Nintendo or whatever. Like I think they just so focused on the single player or maybe even co-op games, but not really. It was mostly just single player stuff. The only one I can think of that got pretty popular back then was like Crash Team Racing. I think I knew some people who played that multiplayer, but most people playing around the living room was around a Nintendo or was around an Xbox. The Switch 2 allows you to game share with other consoles in the same room, up to 3 other systems with just one game. Yes, that's a great option, Dylan. The DS also had that option. I remember one guy would have Tetris on DS, and they had a multiplayer mode where you can all play together, and all it takes is one person to own the game. So if you go to like a convention or something, you can all pair up together and play just off that one game. And now Switch 2 has it as well. And I think the Switch did too. I can't remember. That's awesome. I love that. And of course, doesn't mean you can just sit there and play the entire game forever. But when you're with them, you meet up together. You don't have to all own a copy of the game, which is sweet. Like, I think it's a feature most people don't remember. And it's like, that's fantastic. Get together. Stop playing online. I had a PS4 for a while that a neighbor threw out for a council cleanup. What is a council cleanup? I fixed and cleaned it and eventually gave it to my niece when hers stopped working. Very nice. Yeah. I also had a PS4 for, I think in 2018 for Black Friday, there was a deal to buy the PS4 and it came with Spider-Man for $200. I think it was Black Friday in the US. And I think that's the one I bought. I was like, that's a good deal at the time, obviously. And then I played, Final Fantasy VII Remake, God of War, Spider-Man, all those games I had missed by not having a PS4 the whole generation. Bloodborne, I went back and just played through all of them on that thing for 2 years. It was great. It was a good deal. But isn't it interesting that we are now 5 years after the PS5 is released? 5 years. And it costs more now to get a PS5 than it did when it first came out. Isn't that absurd? It's absolutely insane. But then they turn around and charge $20 for the Pokemon remakes instead of releasing on Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah, that's interesting. Considering they have the Nintendo Switch Online stuff, it's pretty strange to release a remake of a Game Boy Advance game. Or not a remake. It is a Game Boy Advance game. It's a Game Boy Advance game that was a remake of a Game Boy Color game, or I guess a Game Boy game. 20 years after the remake was released, and they're charging $20 each, which is, yeah, that seems pretty silly. And there's like no features on it, right? Do they not want people rewinding? Just emulate it. Who cares? Although I did play the newest Pokemon, which was the AZ one, where you can like control the Pokemon separately and you can dodge roll out of their attacks and stuff. That was pretty fun, actually. It wasn't a perfect game, but it was pretty fun. It was a good mix-up from the traditional kind of turn-based nonsense of Pokemon that I've just grown so bored of in recent years. But it was nice to get a Pokemon fix that wasn't just the traditional Pokemon stuff. Pretty cool. Council cleanups are here for bulk waste removal. I get 4 a year here in my closers. Got it. Totally understand what that is. I have a PS5, but I hardly play it. All my friends and library are on Xbox. It's hard to start over. Yeah, for sure. Especially since all the games I bought for Xbox One and most of my 360 games are back. Yeah. And that's always what it comes down to. People will talk about, this console's better than this one's better than this one. People are gonna play where their friends are. You know what I mean? And I would never try to sway someone away from that. Like I've met people who I'm like, wow, why don't you play on PC? Because they'll say things that it's like, why they hate their console? I'll say they just play on PC. They go, well, all my friends play on Xbox or PlayStation or Switch or whatever. Like, yeah, okay. It's going to be very difficult to switch over all of your friends to a new console for seemingly no reason. Because let's say all of your friends play, it's a bad example, but let's say Fortnite. But again, bad example because you can play that on anything. And they all play on Xbox. It's going to be really hard to say, hey, let's all go buy computers to play Fortnite, to play the same game on a different console or a machine, rather. It's a hard sell to people because it's like, oh, so the same game with the same experience or similar experience. What's the difference? What's the point? So it's really hard to transfer. So yeah, people are going to play where their friends are ultimately. Xbox 360 was better than the PS3. Okay, I agree. The library was insane. Splinter Cell Conviction. I did like the Splinter Cell games. Those were all great. I got my PS4 from a guy who was going to sell it to a pawn shop. I gave him $14 more than the shop. I've always considered that, waiting outside of a GameStop and being like, or just waiting inside and being like, hey, I'll give you $10 more than they're going to give you. And I'll give you cash. I mean, GameStop's already going to lowball them, so why not? That's pretty funny. What do I think about gaming on cell phones? I don't get it. Personally, it's not for me. I know there's a very large portion of the world who plays on their phones, particularly in Asia and in India. India loves PUBG on phones. And you see it a lot in third world countries or lower income countries where phones dominate the gaming scene. Because it's kind of hard to convince people that already have a $500 device in their pocket to go buy another $500 device to play a game where to them, gaming is gaming. Why do I need two devices? I can't afford it or I don't want to afford it. So for me, not so much. I don't really play on my phone ever. Like truly ever. But I think emulation on phones is cool. And I like that exists. Emulation on Android's gotten real good. The controllers are pretty cool. And so I think you can do a lot of gaming. There's a lot of cloud gaming you can do on cell phones. There's a bunch of stupid gotcha games on the App Store you could download. There's a lot of options. But here's the thing. If I'm at home and I want to play a game, I'm not going to pull out my phone. I'm going to play on my computer or a console or something, right? And if I'm out and about, I don't often want to play a game on my phone. There's not many times where I have time. I was like, well, I have some dead time. I'm just going to sit here and play a game. I think if I had a commute on a public transport, that would be great timing, but I don't. So there's not many times where I'm out and about and I want to play games on my phone. Very rarely. Maybe for kids and young people, they do have it, but I personally don't. So I don't really have a chance to, so I don't really care. But having said that, I see the merit in it and I understand why it exists, and I would never take that away from people or degrade them as gamers or whatever. But personally, I just don't do it. I just never do it. Xbox Party Chat is so good though. Having to use a separate app on PC is kind of weird to me, especially after what Discord has announced. Yeah. That is true. As far as phones, not having buttons makes it hard to play a real game. Yeah, I think so too for a lot of older people. A lot of young people don't care. They don't see a difference. Pressing a button on a touchscreen and pressing a button on a controller is the same thing to them. They truly do not care. Like I've heard people play through things like Resident Evil 4 on their phones using touchscreen. Like they will play an entire ass game using touchscreen. And me, I'm like, no way, you're crazy. But yeah, they don't seem to care. They'll play Fortnite using touchscreen. And I'm just like, what are you doing? They just don't care. So they grew up with it. They don't mind it. But yeah, I can't do it. I would have to use a controller or something. But again, I was born in the 1900s. Speaking of community, speaking of Discord, what are your plans for your community? I don't know, man. I would love to do some stuff. It's hard to make videos and then focus on the Discord and try to do, like, I know we've talked about doing community game nights and stuff. I don't know. I might pick a few of y'all to set that up, and then if I can just show up, that would be nice. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. If you guys want to handle the back end of it, I will make you mods and we can handle it. As long as I just show up and play, I'm cool with that. It's just the planning it that I'm like, just when you only have so much time in a day, I just would rather focus that time on making the videos rather than like trying to figure out how to make the Discord more fun and interesting. Unfortunately, like, I like the community, I like all you guys, but when it comes down to it, the videos need to take priority for my time. So maybe we'll figure that out. I'd be down to do that if y'all want to, if a couple of y'all want to be mods or something and set up some game nights where we all hop in voice chat together. That sounds fun. Phones run into problems too. Yeah, of course. They have their own issues. Does a recent change have you worried about privacy? I would personally prefer if they didn't take my ID because I don't trust them. Unfortunately, they already have my ID. A few years ago, I guess I jokingly said the words "I'm 9" at some point, and Discord found out. This was in a personal server, by the way, like me and a couple of friends. This isn't some random server where a rando reported me. I just typed the words "I'm 9," and Discord immediately has a no tolerance policy for that, and they immediately banned me. And then they asked me, hey, if you want your account back, you have to take a selfie with your government issued ID and your face. So Discord already has my face because I had to get my account back. So while I'd prefer they didn't, there's not much you can do. Unless another competitor shows up that doesn't want to do that. I don't know. I think that's kind of the way it's going. Considering a lot of countries very quickly switched around from saying, we don't want kids in online spaces to let's ban them very quickly. Australia and a few other countries, like, just overnight, man, things move so quickly. I think Discord sees the writing on the wall and sees that that's going to be coming more and more because there's been little blowback. It's very hard to fight against that because if you say I'm against this, they're going to go, oh, so you want children to be groomed online. Like, no, I don't want that. I just don't think we should be forced to give our IDs to them. It's like, well, what other options do we have? Like, oh, okay, I guess. Like, yeah, it's hard to fight back against it because truly, the people who don't want the IDs to be shown also don't want kids online getting groomed. So I think Discord saw that on the wall, and they don't want to be seen as the grooming station because, I mean, Discord's in the news a lot. I mean, it seems like every school shooter planned it on Discord with their friends. So I don't know. I wish we didn't have to do it, but truly we are so far deep into Discord that it would be very hard to convince everyone to switch. That's the biggest issue. Something would have to come along that is just better in every aspect and provides things that Discord does not. And so I'm not sure what that would look like. But because Discord has a lot of stuff, but it could be cool. We couldn't even imagine Discord back when Skype was the default. So I look forward to whatever comes next. And hopefully they don't ask for my ID on there either. My state requires ID to access pornography. Haha, yeah. A lot of states do. I think like half of them. It's a big number. You could slap banned over it. Seems like a lot of businesses kind of hate children lately. I see some of the children's books and toy sections get shorter at Costco. I mean, that's an interesting... I wouldn't say they hate children. I think the problem is how people are buying things for children. I don't think they hate the children. Um, but yeah. The toy section at our Costco disappeared right after Christmas. It seemed like the moment Christmas was over, all the toys and books were gone. So like basically that's the only time they do that. I will say, yeah, it seems like physical businesses would prefer children not be inside because children do not have money. So they only want people inside who are gonna buy stuff. Um, which sucks, but yeah, it does seem to be going that way, doesn't it? It seems like they hate them, but with the whole helicopter parent excuse, I don't know. I don't think they hate children. I think they just hate people who don't have money. Because if you think about it, like, okay, I'm a business, and my store fits 500 people. Would I want 400 of those people to be adults without money, literally with no money in their pocket, and they're not going to spend a single dollar in there? Probably not. I would prefer all those people have money, obviously, for a business, right? But it's 80% of people in a Costco aren't children. That's a huge, insane number. But yeah, I think they should. And you know what's interesting? When I was a kid, I felt like places in the U.S. were very catered towards children. There was always there's playgrounds and like stuff to do for kids, and I think because it's harder than ever to advertise to children because they have so many new laws about it. A lot of those places because they can't advertise to them, they're just like, what am I doing here? Why even matter? And I think a lot of people buy their kid stuff online anyway. So being in a physical space to be advertised to doesn't really concern them anymore. So that's been a big change since I was a kid. But I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting because in China, it is basically a zero chance you see a child in like a grocery store, which in the US it's very different. You're going to see kids all the time in the grocery store. But in China, like basically you would never, maybe 1 in 1,000. And it's just because they have a lot of old people there who are watching over kids. And there's very few times where a child would be forced to go to a grocery store because just of how their community or how their country's dynamic is when it comes to watching children. They just don't bring them to grocery stores, so it's pretty rare. Also, very rare to see them outside ever, because generally they are either at home doing their homework or they are at school learning. And there's not many times you're going to see them outside hanging out or playing with their friends. It's pretty rare. So it's just different depending on what country you're in, I suppose. I feel like I'm in the U.S. and my neighbors have kids and they're always outside. They're all literally after school. My whole street is like a playground. They bring out basketball hoops and they are all hanging out in the street, and so I guess it just depends where you are. All right, the drink of the week: Celsius watermelon ice. If you guys have known, Celsius was the energy drink that was catered towards women. They weren't this size; they were the smaller, thin ones. And 10 years ago, they were like the energy drink for ladies. That's literally how they advertised them. And then for some time in between there, Gen Z people started drinking them, men and women. And then now they are just the Gen Z drink. And they don't even cater them to women. They're just energy drinks. Pretty interesting. The other option is to have parents be parents. I'm a parent. I believe that my children's online safety is my job. That is true, yeah. There's the option where it's kind of like and that is a tale as old as time, Dylan, where people are saying, I don't think South Park should be on TV. My kids might watch it. And then the people saying, well, if you don't want them to watch it, why are you letting them watch TV? Won't somebody please think of the children, right? So yeah, that's certainly an option. But it's just different depending on what you are. I don't have any children, so I can't speak on it personally, but I think a lot of people have different, where the idea is that it's like it's inevitable these days. Your kids are going to get online, Like, it will happen behind your back at your friend's house at school. They are online and they are in communities, and that's just how it is. I think their idea is that it's like no matter what, it's gonna happen. So better safe than sorry, kind of thing. But then I wonder, like, if they don't want kids on Discord, where are kids supposed to talk to other kids? Do they not get a chance to talk to their friends? Basically, it's like they only see each other at school. I know that's how it used to be back in the day, but those days are done. Dude, those days are way past. It's like, well, it's not fair that that's how it is. Bad Dad's crossover. Thanks, man. I'm surprised Brownie hasn't came in here today. I think he's busy. I was editing some shorts earlier, and he was very needy. Down, down. I have a trip coming. Be gone for a little bit, starting next week. But I'm hoping, no, starting this week, at the end of this week. So I have a lot of work to do because I want videos to be flowing. So I'm like trying to get ahead of it, and I have a video due on March 9th that's being sponsored by Okinos, and I've filmed it, but I haven't written it and I haven't edited it. Then I also have another video that's due sometime in the next week or two that I have not finished editing. So what's going to happen is I'm either going to zoom edit it tomorrow and the next day, and then I don't know. I hate the idea of working when I'm on a trip, but it might have to happen. It's kind of like the pro con of working as your own boss, right? Because if I worked a normal 9 to 5, I would just say I'm on vacation, see ya, and I don't have to worry about anything, and that'd be great. But when you're a self-employed person, sometimes you gotta work on the weekends, and you gotta work other times. Like, it's just how it is. So we'll see. But when I'm on a trip, it's not like I'm 24/7. Morning, I wake up, I go to bed, action packed. Everything is a life. Usually, I am when I'm on vacation, I'm an early riser on vacation, and then do a bunch of stuff for like 10 to 12 hours. And then there's like a couple hours at the end of the day. I'm not like a person, hey, it's 8 p.m., let's go to a bar until midnight. No. So generally that means the last 2, 3, 4 hours of the day when I'm on a trip, I'm spending at the hotel or wherever I'm staying at, recouping and preparing for the next day. Like, hey, what do we want to do tomorrow? Hey, let's go look it up. Let's make sure. Let's do all that, and just like recouping from walking 25,000 steps that day. And I think at that time I could edit a little each day, and just like little parses here. I'd be willing to set up game sessions in Discord if you would be part of them. For sure, of course. I would love to be a part of them. That's not the issue. It's setting them up. So yeah, I'll talk to you, Dylan, later. I'll send you a message, and maybe we can get some other guys in there too, because that sounds really fun. I'd be definitely down to do that. I think we could set up some really fun community nights with everyone. Maybe we could do some Jackbox games, or what else we can do? Helldivers 2, or which I have not played since we last played. Let me think. I have a ton of games, so we could find something. Or maybe we all 1v1 and Smash Melee. If anyone can beat me, I'll give him $1. I would be so broke. There's no. Oh my god, I'm not good at Melee. I don't know why I said that. I would lose every single match probably. I'm just hoping that if I pretend to be good, that people will be fearful, and then I won't lose any money. As simple as that. 1 second, let me refresh this. It keeps giving me errors. I'd get my kid to play with you. I'm awful. Dylan, I could not handle losing to your child. I'm sorry. That would hurt even worse, dude. I don't know if I could handle that. That would just hurt too much. Does this camera look better than it normally does? I feel like it does. Because usually I use this guy, this Obsbot Meet 2. And if y'all have ever seen, Linus Tech Tips actually made a video recently about a bunch of webcams, and this was on his list of like pretty good webcams. And I like it because it's small and it works, and the software on it's pretty good. So I like that. I'm trying out a new one here that is more of a portable camera. I think it does look better, but it is more expensive than this. And the autofocus is pretty good too. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, how fast it caught onto that. Amazing. And it looks really good too. The lighting is really good. Man, that looks fake. The light's hitting that just right. That looks like a polygon. Look at that. Am I crazy? Wow, fast autofocus. Look at that. It's on focus. Let's see how long it takes to focus my face. 1.5 seconds. It's pretty good. I'm very red. I don't look this red in person. You see, it's giving me periodontic rosacea around here. I am not red, so that means I think it is white balancing from the purple and counteracting from my face. It makes me look insane. I do not look like this in real life. Right now I have it on default settings, and it's making me very red. I'm not that red. Interesting. Sorry for anyone watching who doesn't care about cameras. This is what I do, so I find it interesting. Yeah. It looks less red on the stream, but on my feed, it is very red. I look crazy. He's almost 18. It's not that bad. But still, like, I can't handle that, man. Luckily, I have not gotten to the point where I am getting dunked on by children in games. Well, sometimes I do. If I play online, you know, it's inevitable. But, like, my niece, she's 18, almost 19, and she can't beat me in anything. And I played her friends in a bunch of games. They can't beat me. So that felt pretty good. And there's gonna be, it's like that time when you're a dad and you like beat your kid at basketball all the time, and then one day the kid finally wins, and that's when like the tides turn on you. So yeah, I'm waiting for that day to happen when it comes to gaming. He won our local Smash Ultimate tournament at the Switch 2 launch. Nice. Then yeah, he would definitely beat me. Yeah, he would just dumpster me. Completely domination. Oh, why did my music stop? All of these songs, these are songs from called Stream Beats, and they're nice background music, but all of them start very quiet for about 30 seconds, and then they get loud, and then they get quiet for 30 seconds. Literally all of them do. And it's so frustrating because you can't hear them in the stream because it's so quiet. And if I turn it up during the quiet parts, it gets too loud during the loud parts. Do background music exist that is just steady throughout the whole song? Because that would be nice. I foul my kid too hard for him to beat me. What are you, pushing him over while you play? I mean, that could work, I suppose. Oh, I have a package we can. 1 second, give me 1 moment. So this is not sponsored or anything. I bought this myself, but it is something that's going to be coming soon. I thought, you know what? I hate how loud my computer is, because the other day I was recording something for a video, and then I went to go edit it, and I could hear the computer fans in the video. And this has been going on for far too long. So I said, okay, enough is enough. I can't turn off my computer when I record. First of all, it's inconvenient. Second, I'm recording the audio to the computer usually via Audacity. So, you know what? I just need to quiet it down, make some adjustments. Oh, I thought, you know what? We need to invest for a lifelong plan. Nice. That's a huge box. So if y'all are unfamiliar, this is the NHD15. This is that very fancy Noctua CPU cooler that everyone talks about. This is the Gen 2 version, which came out a year ago. Now, what's cool about it, it is expensive. I'm not going to say it's not expensive. It's incredibly expensive. Considering you can get coolers for $10 these days, this is very expensive. I think it's like $100. But Noctua has confirmed by many people's approach that if you message them forever, they will send you new hardware to mount. So this, once I move on to AM6, AM7, whatever, I can still be using this, and it's still going to be the best cooler, which is awesome. So basically, it is an end game cooler. I don't think I will ever replace it for the foreseeable future. Every computer I ever build will have this in it. And I think, I thought about it, I'm like, why am I, $100 is a lot for a cooler, but if it's the best in terms of temperatures, the best in terms of audio, and it's going to be around forever. Noctua's not going anywhere. I can keep repurposing it. Like, it makes a lot of sense. And I need that for being quiet, I'm excited to use that. But this was a big investment. No matter how beefy my CPU gets, I can always rely on this to keep it cool. So if I'm rocking a low power chip or if I'm rocking a high power chip, I at least know I don't have to get a new CPU. There's that. That's nice. It's a big box. Look at that. Most CPU coolers are like half the size of this. What could it possibly be? I know these use 140 millimeter fans, so it is pushing a lot of air. I want to get it out. They go so hard on the packaging. Heck yeah. Woo. Oh, wow. So it's just to keep it all safe. The box itself is pretty small. But if you don't know, that's what the NHD15 looks like. It's a single fan between two big heat sinks, but it's a big fan. And this thing rips. That's exciting. I'm excited to try this out, truly. It won't be until after I get back from my trip, but excited to use it. And they have special fans, and it's going to be super quiet, and it's really fun. Okay. There is a single stick of 16 gigabytes of RAM that perfectly matches mine. Same speed, timing, and even brand on my local marketplace. Would it be worth pursuing if I can get it for $100 in this RAM economy? Man, you already have 16 gigs, right? I don't think you will see much. If you have $100, yeah, go ahead, whatever. But the problem is that if you're expecting to get 5, 10, 15, 20% increase in frames, you're not. How it works is like your computer is doing just fine on the RAM it has. Any RAM over 16, unless you're playing it at like 4K or something, for your resolutions, you might see a minor increase in some games that are a little heavier. But I will say for most of it, yeah, if you're not running into any RAM issues now, so like, because you're streaming or you're video editing or you're playing a game and you have Discord open and you have a bunch of Google tabs and you have Blender open, you know what I mean? Like, you have a lot of stuff going on at once. Then I would say, yeah, it might be worth it. But if you're not seeing any issues, I don't think you're going to see a meaningful upgrade. Yeah, I just don't think so, personally. But, you never know. I know you're on a custom build now, so there's that. But Yeah, I just don't know if you're gonna see that much of an upgrade. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think you're sitting pretty good right now. Yeah, wait till things get a little bit better. 'Cause I think you're gonna be disappointed. I think if you get that RAM, you're gonna put in there expecting huge gains, and truly for like half the games you play, probably you're not gonna see any difference. And maybe in a few games you might see a very small percentage uptick, but not really. So unless you're streaming or video editing or doing anything that's like multi-core processes, like more than just gaming on top of gaming, I wouldn't worry. Just enjoy what you got. You got the monitor, play your games, you're having a good time, right? Don't overthink it. I'm trying to keep track of this because Brownie will eat this and he will die. So I have to hide it. That's why I'm keeping it close, because as soon as I walk away, I gotta toss it. L2 cache is holding my system back. It probably L3 cache. Yeah, L3. Yeah, could be. That's a big one. You're always gonna have something holding you back, right? There's never a PC that exists that is perfectly in balance. This CPU is paired with this perfect GPU to get perfect balance, and then this perfect amount of RAM and the L3 cache, everything in balance. The only way to do that is to buy the best stuff, right? Because then it's like, this is the best GPU with the best CPU and the best amount of RAM, and like, other than that, you're never gonna be just perfect. Everything's always a little bit holding you back, which is true. But what I'm saying is that unless you are unhappy with your computer's performance, it is. You said it's holding your system back, but is it holding you back? Considering you are a person who owns every console, several of them, and you even said you're not primarily a PC gamer. If you were to sell all of your consoles and go straight to PC and that's all you have, I would probably say, yeah, buy the RAM upgrade, get a better CPU, better. Like, this is your one machine, man. You want it to be the best for you. Best for you is what I mean. But it's not the case. When you have this console and this console and this console and a PC and this, like, you can't really just piecemeal it up. I mean, you can if you want to needlessly spend money. But I would say just be happy with what you got. Enjoy it. You're on a custom rig, no problem. Until a game comes along that you literally cannot run or run well, and it's the game you really want to play, then maybe consider at that time. If you're really having issues, you can always go back and like change it then. But just sitting around waiting to see what you want to upgrade, yeah. And that's what I'm figuring out here, Dylan. And that you are not the first person. That's the big problem, is that people get bitten by the hobby and they're thinking, what's the best way I can optimize my performance piece by piece at the best value, the best bang for the buck. And that's when you start getting people selling their Ryzen 5 5500s to upgrade it to a 5600, right? And it's like, yes, you're going to see increased performance by getting that one step up CPU. But man, is it a lot of work to constantly be in that. I can't even focus on my games because I'm just worried about how good my performance is, right? Try to stay out of that. Unless you're being held back, I would say don't worry about it. If you truly want to, I mean, that's your money, it's your right. I would say you could always get a better CPU, I suppose. That's something that could be done. Get some more L3 cache on there. Possibly another RAM stick. If you only have one RAM stick and it's DDR4, which I can't remember if you're DDR5 or DDR4. I can't remember your rig. I think it's DDR5. I can't remember if you have one or two sticks. So you tell me before I go on. Zay Ramoa. Wait, yeah. You're saying just play some game. That is what I'm saying, Dylan. And that's coming from someone who makes money on affiliate revenue. So if I'm telling you to just play some games, do that. And then if you play a game and it sucks because it's not running well, then maybe consider talking. DDR5 single stick. Okay, DDR5 is okay. If it was DDR4, I would actually say maybe go get another stick. But I've tested it. DDR5 one stick versus two. It'll help, but it's not going to be as big a jump as you're expecting. 1 to 3% maybe. So I think you're okay. That's just me. Bro, what should I do to increase my performance on my Dell 7040? I have a 15 6th gen. Hold on. I don't know what 15 is. Okay, I have a 6th gen 16 gig DDR4. I have a 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM, a GT 1030, 2 gig DDR5 RAM. Okay, so I think you're saying your graphics card has DDR5 RAM. So don't say that. It's just confusing. How to increase your performance on that is get a new computer, because unfortunately, there's not much you can do on that. You can get a slightly stronger graphics card, but the GT 1030 is pretty weak. You're not playing anything on that. You're probably playing Fortnite, League of Legends. The problem is that computer might not be able to handle a better graphics card. There's slightly better upgrades you can get before you hit a wall because you're in a Dell machine. But other than that, truly just getting a slightly better GPU, which would be used. It would be a used GPU on eBay or something. And it would have to fit your machine, and it would have to fit the power constraints and all that stuff. You can maybe get a GTX 1650 that is powered by the slot alone. So that would work no matter what your power constraints are. That would be significant upgrades. So look for a GTX 1650. That would probably help you. Or an RX 6400, but that would be way more expensive. Or get a new computer. If that's not an option, yeah, the first two things I said. Because yeah, getting more RAM won't help you. Getting a better CPU might help, because you said you have an i5 6th gen. It's probably the 6500 in that Dell, if I remember correctly. Getting a 6700 might help, but it wouldn't. They're kind of expensive for what they are, so I wouldn't recommend it. I just think getting a slightly better graphics card would help a lot. So write this down: RX 6400. If that's too expensive, GTX 1650, which is also going to be expensive. Both that card will cost probably $80 to $100, and the 6400 will cost more. But they will both work in your system, and they will help your performance a lot. So be prepared for that. You other than that, you're at a wall. You are unfortunately, you've hit the wall that it is worth it to upgrade that computer other than those graphics cards. I watch your videos, are really good. Thanks, man. What's up, Big Chief? Renato? What's up, dude? How's it going, man? I badly need a better GPU, but I need both my kidneys. What should I do? That is a conundrum, isn't it? Do you really need both your kidneys? Like, truly, I don't know. I think you're being kind of a baby about it, to be honest. Do you know anyone who has an extra kidney that you could sell theirs? That could also work. His i5 can't do Windows 11 either. Yeah, so he's stuck on Windows 10. Is his Dell a small form factor? These are all good questions. You have to make sure the GPU will even fit. But if I was in his situation and I had a small form factor Dell PC and I was using a GT 1030 and I needed a better graphics card, I would take the case off. Like, truly, at that point, who cares if I have a little side panel on my little Dell small form factor computer, right? I'm taking the side panel off and I'm putting in a big graphics card. I don't care. Like, who cares? But that's just me. He doesn't have the small form factor, so that's good. But yeah. So maybe that. I gave up on Dell PC Towers a long time ago. I'll still get their laptops though. My Dell Inspiron 16 Plus is still hanging in there along with my 5060 Ti machine. Nice. Yeah. Dell, their PC towers have not been too great for gaming as of late because of some proprietary stuff and the sizing. They've decided to make all of their Dell towers recently smaller, which is understandable, obviously. But so it's hard to get full-size graphics cards in there these days, and they're just expensive. So I don't know. The age of like turning old Dell computers into gaming machines might be over, because machines are getting smaller for office work, and so there's no need to have them so big. And if they're not big, they can't hold a graphics card. So I don't know. But we are moving on to very good APUs. So there could be a Dell machine that comes with a Strix Halo chip and that we get for use later on. That would be great, wouldn't it? I don't know. On the real, I have a 2066 gig and was saving for a 5060 Ti, but then prices just said nope. Ah, yeah. That stinks, Ronto. But the 2066 gig is not that bad. This other guy's got a GT 1030, so you're sitting pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty good. But yeah, it is getting up there in age, and I think the 6 gig is really holding you back. Yeah, just keep saving, brother. Keep saving. And I know you were talking about the B580. They are more available now, and that could be a great card for you, brother. Like 12, it would double your VRAM. Isn't that crazy to think about? A $250 card doubling your VRAM? Be pretty sick. So keep an eye out. B580, dude. And find someone else's kidney. I have a Dell small form factor, and I have the R6400. Got the build from your channel. Nice. I'm going to turn into a Plex server. Oh, that's a good way too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the RX6400 could be great for that. I wonder, if you're running Windows, I guess. That's cool. Yeah, the RX 6400 people don't talk about. I just think because it's kind of expensive. I think because it's so like low powered, people don't expect it to cost like 130 bucks. But it's because of the size, and it doesn't take any external power. But it's surprisingly pretty good. They still think it is the mid 2000s. Even the Intel GPUs are getting with the program. That is true. Dell does feel a little outdated these days. They haven't even made any monitors recently that I'm like super into. Was Dell the one that made that stupid monitor? What was it? Like a 52-inch monitor recently? I saw a few YouTubers doing a video on it. Was that Dell? It was insane. It was like a humongous monitor. I can run 5M and stuff, and I run Windows 11. I don't know what 5M is, but it's cool at running Windows 11. That's nice. I guess you used a backdoor method. It's one of the only half bytes available that will fit. Yeah, exactly. Like, we've moved so far away from like small graphics cards that there's like two options, right? I think there's a 4060 that's a small one, or is that a 30? No. There's not many small form factors. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to really think hard to get a single slot card these days. It's absurd. Intel has a bunch. That's about it. Really hard. Yeah. I mean, we're just moving so far away at that. The Yeston 3050. 3050, yes. 3050 has a single slot card. And it's expensive, correct. Yeah. Interesting. As computers get smaller, the graphics cards are getting bigger. And so they're kind of moving past each other, where we want mini PCs with Strix Halo chips, but then we also want giant graphics cards. And they've moved past each other in a way that we don't have single slot cards anymore, making it really hard for people who like very small computers but want a graphics card. So eventually, they're going to have to come back around where the APUs are almost as strong as the GPUs, making it worth it. So we need to come back together. Soon we will. 5M is a modded version of GTA. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. But it's gonna be tough to run GTA 6 on that. I mean, if you want to run GTA 6, you need to start saving up now. because it's going to come out for consoles first in November, and then probably in a year after that, it's going to come out on PC. So you need to start saving up now for a computer that can run it, because it's going to, even on a PS5 base, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a PS5 Pro type of game. So start saving for your PC now if you want to play GTA 6, brother. Okay. I have one more day. Curious. That's not how laptops work. Just get a PC gaming tower if you want relevant gaming. Yeah, I know. That's not how they work now. The APUs that have been coming out are getting better and better, man. Okay. Will an APU ever be as strong as a dedicated graphics card? No, it won't. But it's starting to get closer and closer and closer. And as we start hitting these more power limits on our giant graphics cards, we don't want a 2000 watt graphics card, right? And so they're just making them bigger and adding more cooling, and like we can't brute force it anymore because of Moore's law. So what they're starting to do is pulling back and using DLSS, FSR, different software. So I think we're heading in a direction where we can use APUs that are getting better and better and better, and then we can start using software like DLSS and FSR and XeSS that are getting better, better, and better. And imagine you're playing on a machine that is this big, okay? And you're playing in 1440p at 120 FPS. Pretty good. And yes, they are fake frames, but that's getting better too. And so we're not there yet. But I don't know. The current conundrum with laptops is I hate them. Because, like I said, to get good graphics, you need size, you need power, which is conducive to what you want in a laptop. You want thin, you want light, you want battery efficient. So what's the point? So I think the only way I'd like a gaming laptop is if it had some great DLSS, FSR, and that's the way to do it, is to have a nice laptop that has a good APU chip, use the software, you have a thin and light machine that's battery efficient, use the software to get the graphics you want. Because I don't know about you guys, I don't want a laptop this thick, personally. So I don't know. Gaming laptops are going in a certain way. I don't think people want thick ones anymore. So they have to make them thinner, and they have to make them cooler, more battery efficient, et cetera, et cetera. We'll see. But I think they're just in a weird position right now where it's just not as necessary. You shouldn't have to plug in your laptop into a wall outlet to play every single time. It needs to have some kind of battery life. And I know it's not realistic to say that I want to be able to play full blast at 10 hours on a battery, but we need a medium ground. And those came with problems, and the hinges were worse. I love how people talk about hinges a lot lately. People are always talking about hinges on online about laptops, and even the handhelds. I know if you ever talk about the Miyoo Mini Flip, which is a little handheld, plays retro games, they had some hinge problems, and now anytime you say their name in the comments, well, remember the guys, this is that company that had that hinge problem. And I just wonder how long until we keep seeing that. It's the same thing for Intel. Intel had those problems with their chips, with the i7s and the i9s 2 years ago. Every time I see, hey, this new Ultra or Ultra 5 or whatever is on sale, in the comments, remember guys, these are the company that broke their chips degraded years ago, and that's a problem. Same thing with Asus. Remember guys, this is the company that had the bad warranty claims. Every company has issues. And there's nothing wrong with warning them about it, but whenever I see people type that stuff and they're just like, yeah, I swore off Intel forever. It's like, dude, every company is bad. They're all bad. If you swear off all of them, there's nothing left. You gotta make concessions where you can, and just not swear off at any point. Dylan, or Nathan says, Dylan, I heard similar things about them, and I hope it is a return to form for Intel. The market needs competition in the CPU space again. Oh, Dylan said, I've been hearing the new Panther Lake Intel chips give a low to mid-range graphical experience. That would be great. Because as far as APU goes, AMD is king. I mean, the one handheld that had Intel, the original MSI Claws, it's horrible. Like, how can Intel not figure this out? How did AMD end up dominating APUs? All of the consoles or PS5 and the Xbox, AMD. What is going on? Like, where's Intel? Intel, what are you doing? Right now, everyone's talking about AM5. They're not talking about the Core 5, whatever. They're not talking about your APUs. They're not talking about AI with you. What are they talking about? Intel is so irrelevant right now. What has happened to them? Just a year or two ago, they were great. The only thing Intel has over AMD is QuickSync. And QuickSync is great, but that's not enough. Because I'm upgrading soon. Congratulations. Huge upgrade. They won't even release the Arc B770. That's true. Let's talk about the GPUs. The B580 was a rare win for Intel. It's a good card. It is. They came back from a fall. They've made a GPU that's great, and I'm happy for them. That's great. Fantastic, truly. Where have they been? You can't just make one GPU this generation. Like, truly, we can't do that. I know they made the B570. Who cares? It's barely cheaper. We need, just keep it coming. Keep them coming. You can't just do one GPU a year. I know you're new to this, but you can't do that. Intel is back. Now that DDR4 is the only affordable option, the i7 4700K is the play now for PC meta. That's unfortunately very true. I see more. No one talks about the new stuff, dude. Everyone still is like the 12600KF. We'll talk about that. That sucks, man. That's a 4-year-old chip. Like, come on, Intel, please. You're capable of this. I dropped $900,000 investing in you. You have to. I didn't. That would be insane. I want Intel to be competitive again, and I just don't know what they're doing. Like, where are the products, man? Where they laid off a bunch of people. Intel is for those who don't know, Intel has always been a legacy company. Intel was the safe bet. Intel back in the day, that was the computer company that was always going to be around, and it was always going to be making good stuff. And it's like, a bet for Intel was a good bet because they would never go down. It would just slowly go up. And now it's just like, what are they doing? Now that we've moved past, because for so long, Intel, they had the Apple contract. They were in Macintoshes. That was great for them. That's gone. Those days are done. They lost that company. And now they were, for the longest time, the default in all Office PCs. And that is still true. And I think that's where they're getting most of their money. That like little stupid Dell computers people are putting in workstations for computers or for offices and like normal workers. That stuff is still Intel. That's boring. Like, who cares? I'm glad they're making some money from that, but what about everyone else, man? What are they doing in the AI space? What are they doing in the gaming space? What are they, like, keep it coming. You know, Intel used to make motherboards. They used to make SSDs. They made Wi-Fi chips. They made, like, what are you doing? Where's the work? Then you only have to upgrade the motherboard to go to DDR5 when you're ready, and the CPU will still be high-end. That's true. Yeah, if you go 14700K. I mean, you'd also have to upgrade the RAM. So RAM and motherboard, but you wouldn't have to upgrade the CPU. So that's nice. I suppose one less thing to upgrade. It's called the Jason Complains About Intel stream. I should rename it that. Then again, an NVIDIA graphics processor on an Intel processor would be insane. It is a wait and see at this point. Yeah, we've heard of that too, with NVIDIA putting in some money into Intel. It's an interesting play. There could be things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Because as it seems to me, Intel is now no longer the legacy company you can always trust. They are a step behind. and their processes are outdated. Not processors, their processes. So like how they do things is outdated. Their company is bloated, and they take forever to get to market for anything. They're always late, and they're just making decisions that don't make any sense. They are no longer forward thinking. They are no longer making things that people care about. The B580 was a lone good thing. I can't think of another thing that people talk about Intel these days, unfortunately. Right, and the U.S. government is now a 10% over in Intel now. Call that what it is, Dylan. It's a bailout. That is a bailout by any other name, but a very bad deal for Intel, I suppose. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I hope they come back around. I would like Intel to not be destroyed. I hope they figure this stuff out, and I hope they make some good chips. And I dream of a day where I go, you know what? The best CPU right now is Intel. The best graphics card is Intel. That would be great. Could you imagine a world in which the strongest graphics card on the planet is an Intel? It'd be amazing. Isn't the RAM shortage causing Intel not to release the V770? It's very likely, yes. It's very likely because we are seeing delays and everything. I mean, that's why the GPU shortage is happening right now, especially with the 57 Ti and some of the higher end stuff. Like they don't want to risk it. Like they only have so many RAM chips that they can give out. And I think Intel wants to be aggressive with their pricing, like they were in the B580, and they can't be that if they right now. They can't do that. So if they put all that RAM in the B770, which Intel has been very generous with the VRAM, I will give them that. That's been great. They did a great job on that. But they can't do that anymore and be aggressive on pricing. And I think Intel knows that if they're not aggressive on pricing, people aren't going to buy it. The NVIDIA still has 90% of the GPU market. We have to remember that. They have 90% of the market, and they don't even care. They don't even want to be in consumer graphics cards anymore. They just want to do AI stuff. They don't even have to try. So Intel and AMD have to work extra hard to try to get any kind of market share. And Intel, I think they went up a little bit, and then they went back down to 0. Sucks. So yeah, you have to risk it for the biscuit. That's true. But we don't know how expensive it is going to be for them. They would have to increase the price, and they're not going to make any money. I don't know. I mean, would you pay $500 for an Intel graphics card that performs the same as a $300 AMD one? No, nobody would. So they're like, well, we can't release this now because we got priced out. Now we just have to wait. You wouldn't believe NVIDIA was the market leader listening to creators glaze AMD graphics cards. I agree with this. And Dylan, there was a time where I strongholded this argument because I was featured on 2 different YouTube videos. Well, featured. They brought my face up for like a moment. That was on a Linus Tech Tips video and a Paul's Hardware video where they both did like Ask Me Anythings. And I basically said, why do creators glaze AMD all day and yet all of them just use NVIDIA cards? Huh? If it's so great, why aren't you using it? Paul gave a very good answer that basically said, well, we understand the value in it, but as creators, we are primarily video editors, and CUDA is too good. Totally fair and valid answer, and it's why I use an NVIDIA card. I agree with him, but I'm not going to sit here and glaze AMD all day. And then Linus gave us such a non-answer that it seemed like he misunderstood the question, or they cut off half the video because it looks kind of like they edited it in a weird way. Basically, he said, I am going to AMD. I have an AMD CPU. I'm like, well, no. I was talking about GPU, and then they just cut the video. I'm like, no. That's such a non-answer. So I think the Linus one kind of got thrown out, unfortunately. It was not a good one. I think there was maybe I asked it in the wrong way. Maybe they cut it. I don't know. But he only was, and I think he was going AMD because he like said he wasn't going to go NVIDIA for that generation. And now he's got a 5090 in the machine. Like, oh, great. you you boycotted them for a year. Well done. Like, on the machine you don't ever use because you don't play games that often. Like, you know what I mean? So I agree. I think creators talk about AMD far more than they actually sell cards. If you ask any normie, any person who plays computer games and doesn't really care about technology, they don't know what AMD is. They don't even know. But all of them know what NVIDIA is. Whether they know it's good or not, they know NVIDIA. And that's the problem. So AMD has such a small market share, but people talk about it like everyone's buying their cards. Like they're not. They're not, dude. AMD has nothing. It's such a nothing burger. That doesn't mean they're bad. I think AMD cards are a great value, truly, and they go on sale, and I like that about AMD. But sitting here and pretending like AMD is the savior of graphics cards, like, no, dude. Like, there are reasons to buy NVIDIA as well. I know they generally cost more, and I wish they didn't. But generally speaking, they have a great feature set. DLSS is better than FSR. I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast right now to censor out my AC on right now. You can't even hear it. I use CUDA. CUDA's amazing. NVENC, incredible. That's how I'm streaming this right now using NVENC. AMD can't compete with that kind of stuff. So like, there are reasons other than just to say, oh, well, it's the better one because I'm a content creator and I want to pretend to be one of the bros, and the bros are saying go for the cheaper one. A great value, truly. If you can't afford an NVIDIA card, an AMD one is a great one too. But to sit there and pretend that NVIDIA is bad, it's like they have 90% market share for a reason. Like, let's not sit here and pretend. I'm not saying they're good or bad or evil or whatever. They're just saying like that's just how it is, and there's a reason for it. NVIDIA has a lot of great features that AMD doesn't. Now, I can't think of any features that AMD has that NVIDIA doesn't. Basically, AMD plays catch up to everything NVIDIA is doing. There are some minor things like smart access memory. Maybe, I guess that's something, but for the most part, NVIDIA has all of them, and then AMD just tries to keep up with them, and they'll put out something similar, and it's never as good, unfortunately. And if the difference is $50, I'll just buy the NVIDIA one. Now, if it was $300, okay, maybe we can talk about it. That's a significant portion of a graphics card. But if it's like $50, I don't know. I feel like NVIDIA is the better play for most people. Even if all you do is gaming at native resolution, so you only care about rasterization, for a lot of people keep graphics cards for like 7 years, man. You don't know what you're going to do next year or 2 years or 3 years. Like, maybe you do want to stream. Maybe you do want to start Blender. Like, wouldn't you rather have something that can do all of it at once and you only spent $50 more on it, which is nothing over the course of 5 years? I don't know. Like, it's not popular to say that NVIDIA is good. I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying there's a reason why they have 90% market share. Even Toasty Bros fell victim to this. They switched all of their PCs to AMD for a month, and all of them went back. Well, hey, at least they showed it. Yeah, it's the same. I'm glad they showed them all switching back, which isn't to say that AMD's bad. Again, I recommend AMD to people, but I mean, it just shows you, like, all the content creators use NVIDIA, and I know it's funny that people like to compare and say that AMD and NVIDIA are on the same level. No, they're not. I would love to say that, truly. The problem is that if they were on the same level, there wouldn't be I switched to AMD for a month challenges. If they were on the same level, that's like saying I switched from a Jaguar to a Ferrari. It's like, okay, so what? They're both really high-end cars. Who cares? Like, if they were on the same level, it's not a challenge to switch to it. It wouldn't be a challenge at all. It would just be another one. If they were on the same level, it would just be, oh, which one did you go, AMD or NVIDIA? Oh, I went one or the other. It doesn't matter. No, it does, because it's a challenge to switch. If it was the exact same level, it wouldn't be a challenge. Does that make sense? So anytime I see that, they're like, oh, they're the exact same. I'm like, dude, people are doing 30-day challenges to see if they can put up with it. That's not a good sign. It shouldn't be a challenge to put up with the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, every time I hear that, I'm just laughing. I'm like, dude, it is like a legitimate challenge that people go back. They go back to NVIDIA. And I think for video editors and streamers, it's a no-brainer. Like, truly, You cannot go AMD, fortunately. You can go AMD for your CPU, even though really Intel would be better. And that's me saying that after going on a long rant about Intel recently, like 10 minutes ago. I think in the real world, you could go Intel CPU and NVIDIA GPU. That's the perfect combo for creators. But you can go AMD for the CPU. I would be okay going AMD CPU and NVIDIA GPU rather than Intel CPU and AMD GPU. That makes sense? Like, I think the AMD CPUs are pretty good. People seem to really like them, and I like them. I think they're doing great compared to Intel. But the GPU is not bad, but it just doesn't compare. AMD is okay backup. Yeah, AMD is a great front runner. It's good. It would be a good card. There's no problem with them. They're just not as good. That's the problem. They're just not as good as NVIDIA. And you go, well, they're cheaper. So yeah, they are, but not cheap enough. They need to be, if AMD really wants to compete with their GPUs, they either need to get better or they need to make them cheaper. Because paying $50 less for a card for similar performance is not going to cut it anymore. It truly isn't. And we can make videos about it all we want with millions of views. They have 90% market share. We can talk about it all we want, but until the market share changes, it doesn't matter. They have to make a card so well aggressively priced or so good, and or both, really, both is the real answer, that it passes the normie threshold into people saying, this is the card to get. They need a 1080 Ti moment. Okay? They need a card that is so much more valuable in performance than the price is that no one can ever say it's not worth it. That's what they need to break through that threshold. But for now, normies don't know. And don't say, well, they have the 9070 XT. Normies don't know what that is. That might be cool to you. No one knows what that is. No one cares. And that's a problem. I've been wanting to go back to NVIDIA. Yonkers Dolphin says, I have a 6700 XT and have someone who wants to trade me for a 3070, but on the fence because of the VRAM difference. Yeah, that's a good, interesting concept. I would say if you're okay with your performance now, don't bother. And again, it depends on like what resolution you're playing at, what you're doing, you're streaming, video editing, blah, blah, blah. It's like more than just a yes or no answer. But I would say 90% chance, don't bother. Just keep your card. Don't take it out of the machine and do all this and possibly have regret. Just play games. It really does depend on like what you're doing, because I've done comparisons of the 3070 compared to the 6700 XT. It's both good cards, but even with the lower VRAM, the 3070 wins a lot of the trades. Wins most of them. There's only certain situations where they don't, and I don't think most people play games that way. Like at that high of a resolution with that kind of texture pack. Like it's like, yeah, this one wins if you play at this resolution at all ultra settings. But what if I go back to high? Oh, the other one wins. What about medium? Other one. It's like, oh, okay. So only very specific situations does the 6700 XT win. I say just keep it. Don't bother. Don't bother. Intel CPU and GPU in 2030. I'm calling it. That would be pretty cool. I'd be into that. I think that would be very interesting. If they can do it, we'll see. Oh, I mean, if the US keeps pumping money into them, maybe they own a 20% stake, maybe 30. Could you imagine a world in which the US government owns 51% of Intel? We wouldn't even call it Intel anymore. We would call it the US government chip manufacturer. Like, that'd be absurd. Thanks for the input, for sure, man. No problem. I'm always on the side of do less and play games. Don't obsess over it. I know it's fun. It's fun to watch stupid people like me look at hardware and stuff. It's fun to look at. Just watch it. Use what you have. Play your games. Don't try to min-max every single piece. Don't trade. Just play your games. You'll have a good time. The games is what matters, guys. That's what you're here for. You want to play the games. Just play games. It's that simple. That's truly spend less money on a 1% increase, buy a game or pirate or whatever. I don't care. Like just play games. You truly will have so much more fun than that. I know many people who buy a Steam Deck and they were afraid that they can't appreciate the Steam Deck because they are kind of graphic nerds. Like they really want like the highest quality graphics. Steam Deck made converters of them. They're like I'm playing on 720p, 60 FPS, and it's the best experience of my life. And that's coming from like a 3080. You know what I mean? And so it's not always about the graphics. It really is about like your comfortability when you're playing or who you're playing with or what game you're playing. Like the hardware itself doesn't really matter up to a certain point. Now, if you're like bro earlier who's playing on a GT 1030, yeah, I would say maybe that person has some issues. Like upgrading would be a significant upgrade for them. They're playing on hardware that's 12 years old, right? Like the big, and it was cheap then. It was cheap then. It's not like it was top of the line or even middle of the line. It was cheap at that time. So, but for most people, if you're using middle range stuff or even entry level stuff, just play your games and move on. Don't obsess over it. Watch the YouTube content. Watch idiots like me play with the stupid hardware, and then live vicariously through us so you save your money. Don't burn through it trying to get 2% better FPS. Who cares? Turn on fake frames. Keep your old stuff and keep it for 5 more years and turn on FSR. You won't see a difference, and you get to keep for 5 more years. Make sure so much dust has collected in your PC because you have not opened it. That's the way to do it. And it's already 9? My gosh. I'm very sweaty. I have a lot of editing to do the next few days. That's all I'm going to be doing. I'm not looking forward to it. That's hard to do with these glass cases. That's true. When you see the dust start compiling. Speaking of that, the Okinos video that is coming up soon on March 9th. The video is that I have a friend who had a computer, or he has a computer that was the most disgusting computer I've ever seen. And it's not just, it wasn't just dusty. He had his fans on backwards, so it was like caked on dust. Thermal issues. The case, it was a pre-built from Cyber Power or iBuyPower, one of these guys, and it had an acrylic side panel. It's only from 2021, and they acrylic for the side panel. Insane. And it started to crack, so he was putting duct tape over the acrylic cracks. And it was just nasty inside. And like once you get to a certain point with something, it's like so far gone, you're like, whatever, I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna clean it or fix it up. You know what I mean? And he had gotten to that point, so like it was just like disgusting. And he was moving past it. And so Okino sponsored the video to give him a new case, and I think that's gonna be really fun. I don't think it's gonna do well as a video, but it was a really fun video to shoot here. I think I have a video of it. Let's see if this comes to the camera. Here's the case. As you can see, it's got the duct tape on it, and he usually ran this front cover comes off, and he usually ran it without the cover on because it overheated otherwise, and it overheated because his fans were put on backwards. Now, it wasn't put on backwards due to the manufacturer or the system integrator. So see how it's all exhaust, because he originally had a radiator on it through the manufacturer, but that broke because that's what AIOs do. And so he, not knowing much about computers, took the fans off himself and ultimately put them on wrong, because that's how they were before. So he just copied what was there before, which is a normal thing to do. But because there's no more radiator anymore, they should have been swapped. You know, does that make sense? Like, it just doesn't make any sense the way he had them. He doesn't know. So his computer's just been exhausting heat and barely getting any cool air. So he would have to take off the front panel. It was a mess. Computer looks much better now. It's all cleaned up. in a new case, thanks to Ogino. So really looking forward to making that video. That's the one I'm probably gonna have to edit on my trip. You're right, man. I built my mother-in-law a PC with a 1600 AF and 1066 gig, and the thing still games like a champ. Yeah, totally. It's crazy to me how often people upgrade just for a small boost in performance. They're psychopaths, and I'm one of them. It is like, look, I like games. I like playing games. It is also a hobby for me to try to min max things. I want to get the most value out of something and get the most and spend the least amount of money for the most value. So, and it's a mental illness for sure. So if, like, let's say you have a 12600 KF as your CPU, right? And you bought it for XYZ dollars. But hey, I see this guy's selling his 12700K for XYZ dollars minus 10. So if I sell this one and I get this new CPU, I only lose $12, $20, $30, but I get, 20% more increased frames, not frames, 22 multi-bench score or something. You're not going to get 20% of frames on that. It's a hobby. It's a hobby to do that, to try to find cheap used goods online and try to min max your performance. I can understand that, but it becomes a problem. Like, it's not great. You know what I mean? Shouldn't do it, is what I'm saying. Next time I'm going to try to get the stream in 4K. I think that'd be fun. I don't know what I messed up this time. Well, same thing with people that have to constantly trade their cell phones in for the newer one every year or so. Yeah, I'd agree with that. But if those people, and that's the funny part, the people who do that don't use their phones that often. They are like texting on them. They take a few photos here and there. Those people don't game on those phones. They don't do anything intensive. I would have some more leeway for those people if their only device was their phone, and it's like they gamed on it, they even plugged it up and did video editing on it, they used it as storage device, they did all the stuff with it. Honestly, if they want to upgrade it every year, I'd try to convince them not to do it, but I would actually kind of understand. I can understand if it is your only device that you use all day, every day for everything in your life, and you only lose a little bit of money to upgrade to the best one, and you like having the best stuff. Okay, I think that's okay for some people. But the problem is that the people who are upgrading their phone every year, they don't do anything on it. They just like having the newest stuff, which is fine, but it's just funny because there's the same people who they'll use it to text people, look at a calendar, check their bank account. And it's like, why do you need to upgrade to a new phone every year? I don't think you do. But I also think those people don't exist that often. I know we like to joke about people like that, but that does not happen as often as it used to. That was like a big issue like 10 years ago. But now, because every phone is so similar, because, we've hit a tipping point, that's not as common as it used to be. And back then, phones broke more often. You remember there was a time where everyone's phone screen was cracked? Y'all remember that? Like 10 to 15 years ago, it was extremely common to see people have a cracked phone screen. I never see people with cracked phone screens anymore. It's incredibly rare. And it costs the exact same now to repair a cracked screen as it did back then. So it's not like it's gotten cheaper to repair, like they're all going to repair it. It's that glass has gotten better. It's very rare to break this. It's really hard. And back then it was much easier. Like you just looked at it and it would crack. So I think back then, if they had a cracked screen, they go, you know what? I'm just going to buy a new one. So they had a better reason to back then. Cracked Apple screens, LOL. Yeah. I feel like I don't see it as often. There was a time, I'd say back in 2015, 2014, 2013, where I saw more people in public with cracked screens all the time. It was so common. It was so common that it was normal to walk around with a broken screen and no one had a second thought about it. Nowadays, it's really hard to find people with broken screens. And I think it's mostly because the glass has gotten better. I don't think people have dropped them less. I think it just every year they get better glass, the Corning, whatever, Gorilla Glass, just getting better. That's great. What's up, Hazard? How are you doing, man? I have emulators on mine. Nice. It's pretty good for JRPGs on the Game Boy Advance. Can't play anything fast-paced because of the lack of tactile buttons. Yeah, I think I'd be okay with playing Pokemon on it. That would be pretty fun. Because if it's just a touchscreen, I think doing a little bit of navigation for a GBA game would be okay, but I'm not going to play Castlevania on using a touchscreen. Or I see people playing like Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas using touchscreen. I'm like, that's nuts, man. What are you doing? All you had to do was use tactile buttons, CJ. Just got done shoveling snow all day. Oh my gosh. That's absurd. I live somewhere where it doesn't snow, so I wear shorts all day. So the thought that, yeah, have to go out in snow, it sucks. All day, my goodness. That sucks. Remember when the phones got bigger and people were bending them in their back pockets? I do. I remember there was a time where we had the term phablet, which was a phone tablet. And it got so bad that they were selling phones that were literally like 7 inches or 7.5 inches or something. And it was like insane. They just kept getting bigger and bigger. And all of us, and then somehow we all realized this is too much. And so now the biggest phone you'll see, and they're more vertical now, so they're not as bulky, because back then they still kept the 16:9 aspect ratio phones. They were so bulky. Now I think the highest you'll get is you'll never hit 7. I don't think there's any phones with 7. I can't think, other than like the folding ones. But yeah, there was a time where phones were just getting so big. They just laid. I used to have a huge too. I didn't have a phablet, but I had one of the cheaper Samsung ones that was huge. And I remember I was at a party. I put my phone down somewhere, and someone goes, "Whose tablet is this? Ha ha ha!" And I never bought a big again. Yeah, and cracked screens mess up the phone's function these days because of the hardware advancement from those older touch phones. That is true. Yeah, you can't. Sometimes it's not just the cracked screen. Sometimes it's the capacitor underneath the touch. What is that called? What is that called? Thing underneath the touchscreen. I guess it just is the touchscreen, because the screen and the touchscreen are two different things. I have the Samsung S24 Ultra, and it is 6.4 height. Yeah, that's as big as they get usually these days. But there was a time where some Android phones were legitimately like 7 inches, and that was in the early 2010s. I'd say 2011, 2012, 2013, if I remember correctly. And we kind of stopped that around 2016. Remember Xiaomi came out with their first bezel-less phone at the time, maybe 2016, the Xiaomi Mix, I think. And that was nearly 7 inches. And I think we backed off from that immediately. Luckily, no one ever bought that phone because it was basically paper launch. But we've backed off from it. And so now people just copy Apple. Like whatever the biggest phone Apple has, that's what everyone else does. So we're good. Third-party Apple screen replacement can't restore Face ID. I have heard of that too, yeah. So they've made it harder, but that's okay. Like it's harder to break the phone. So yeah. And luckily everyone uses a case now. Thank God. What kind of psychos aren't using some kind of case? You know, you're psycho. I use a case and I use a screen protector because even though they've gotten better, I'm not risking it. Okay, I gotta go, guys. It's been over 2 hours. This has been fun. As always, I'll promise to do more streams, and then I won't. So, see you in a couple months. Videos coming soon. Look out for that. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Dylan, I'll reach out to you in a bit to talk about the Discord stuff. If you guys aren't in the Discord, you should join. I think all of you are though, but I will drop a link anyway. And thanks everyone for being here. Here's a Discord if it's Nathan. What's up? Salute to you guys. Appreciate everyone for coming, hanging out. Look forward to some Discord hangouts. I think we're gonna do some stuff. I think that'll be fun, and that could replace the streams, so I don't have to do them as much. It'd be easier to just chat in there. So we'll see. Maybe. I don't know. Looking forward to it though. We'll figure it out. If anyone's interested in being a part of that, let me know in the Discord. Maybe we can get a little committee going. That'd be pretty fun. Thank you for the stream. Thanks for coming, Tech Blacksmith. Of course, love doing this. Love you guys. If you haven't seen today's video, go watch it now and watch it all the way through and like it and comment and open it in 20 different tabs. They can't be muted. Keep them all up on your screen at once. Have it all run at different times. Log into different accounts under each tab and just let it run while you sleep. Hit repeat and just keep doing that until we get to 100,000 views. So, have a good night.